Okay, so welcome to my channel. Yeah, okay, let's refresh. Okay, and I also have some notes here. Maybe we can zoom this in just a little. I think I like it better like that. Okay, here we go. So welcome everybody. No one knows who I am, so let's start there. My name is Ronalyn. I am originally from Maui, Hawaii. That's where I grew up. I was born in the Philippines and I moved to Maui when I was 6 years old. Come from an immigrant family. I was separated from my mom for 7 years and I didn't truly realize how that affected me growing up until I had to unpack and process it this year and last year in therapy. So from 6 to 13 years old, I lived away from my mom. It was very traumatic. That's why I'm here, and that's why I wanted to create this YouTube channel and create a community for anyone who is struggling, anyone who is curious about mental health. I'm diagnosed with several mental health disorders. Do have a background of depression, anxiety, chronic PTSD. Oh, and then I just recently got diagnosed with ADHD. It's a cocktail of mental disorders, and that's why I wanted to create this channel, because growing up, mental health wasn't really talked about in my family. I didn't have a lot of support. I didn't have a lot of emotional support growing up. I didn't have an awful childhood, but there were things that I wish I could have had support with, and there were things that I wish I had the right resources. But you know, family did the best that they could. My dad did the best that they could. I did grow up with my dad's side of the family. So I grew up with my grandma and my grandpa, and then all of his siblings. I grew up with my cousins, and it was fun. It was like having a different set of siblings, and we all kind of bonded in the way that we're first generation. We're all kind of figuring this out on our own, and I think we made use of our situation the best that we could. I didn't really realize that I grew up differently. Like, I knew I was different, but I didn't realize how different I grew up until I moved to San Diego. Just moved into the mainland after high school, and I started learning that wow, like a lot of people do have a relationship with their parents in a way that I never did, and some of the experience I had weren't necessarily normal. It might have been normal in our culture, traditions, but as a society, at least in America, my experiences were very traumatic. Not to say that my family purposely tried to traumatize me, it's just the way that they were raised and the way that they learned from their parents, and it just, you know, it's like a legacy. It's generational trauma. That stops with me. You know, the generational trauma that I did experience, I don't want to bring that upon my kids in the future. I want to be who I am in this world, despite all of the things that I've gone through that may have been hard for me. Okay, so that's a little bit of my background. I moved to San Diego 2015, so 8 years ago. Yeah, I moved to San Diego 8 years ago. I went to college here. I graduated from San Diego State University. Pretty conventional journey into adulthood. Did work full-time while I was in college, so I did have to support myself financially to go to school. That taught me a lot as far as being resilient and achieving my goal, even though I feel as though I'm starting from a lower level than my peers who, you know, may have had support, one, getting into college, or their parents helping them with FAFSA. I didn't even have help with my FAFSA. I had to fill it out as myself, as a 17-year-old, and figuring out what W-2 forms are. And so that's... Sorry, I just need a sip. My mouth is just getting dry. So, yep, that was my experience getting into college. Graduated 2019. It'd take a year to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, and before I started really applying into jobs, I entered the corporate world in 2020 amidst COVID. I got to work from home for quite a while, a year and a half. I was able to work from home. I had gotten laid off from that position in 2022 of last year. Was able to transition into a different department, and it was very similar to the role that I was doing already. I graduated with a bachelor's in marketing. Sorry, I'm making sure my cat doesn't knock over my really expensive camera. That I lost track of what I was talking about, and I'm like trying to see, does my hair look okay? whatever. What was I talking about? I don't even remember at this. Okay, yes. So transitioned into a different department. I was in that role for another year and a half until September of this year. You know, that led me into a journey of self-exploration. Even though I've been on a journey of self-exploration for a few years now, this event taking place really allowed me to take the time to even explore deeper who I am, what I desire, what I am called to do. That is where we're at, and that's why I wanted to create this channel. And also I have, like I mentioned, I did struggle with a lot of anxiety and depression during college, and I did feel very alone, and I felt like no one really understood what I was going through. Mental health is kind of taboo where I come from. No one really talks about it, so I didn't feel like I had support. When I would bring up I just feel depressed and I don't know why, no one really understood what that meant. Just like didn't really have an understanding of the mental health area. As I know, it's a very complex field. Being that I struggled with my mental health for a long time, it was, I want to say, the second year of college where I really felt like really started feeling the physical symptoms of depression. I always knew, like, in my mind that I was very different and that I was more of a sensitive person and I felt things more deeply. It was in college when I really started feeling anxious. I started experiencing anxiety, and I never knew what anxiety was until I started experiencing it, and I was like, this is terrifying. I had very deep functioning depression, so I looked okay on the outside, but I was very, 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 very empty in the inside. In college, that is when my drinking took off. When you're in college, it's kind of normal. You drink every weekend and it's fun, and you party and you meet people and it's fun until it's no longer fun. And that's when you really have to take a step back and think, like, okay, is this activity that I thought was really fun, is this still serving me the way it did in the past? Alcohol did serve me at a point in my life because I was very shy growing up and I didn't know how to feel comfortable in my skin. I always felt really like anxious, and I was always hyper vigilant of what people were thinking of me. I would close up and just not say anything. Some people might have thought I was just rude, but I was just really shy and really scared to talk. So alcohol really helped with that. I used it as a social lubrication. I made friends through drinking and partying. I do still have a few friends that I'm still really close with today that I met in my drinking career. After college, my drinking did decrease because I had moved in with my partner at the time. So I've been sober for almost a year and a half. In that sobriety journey, I have realized that I have an addictive personality kind of as a baseline. And so it doesn't matter what the substance is. When I say substance, it could be anything. It could be TV, it could be a coffee, it could be a hobby. I was very addicted to the gym at some point. I was in the gym for 3 hours, and this was after I had gotten sober because I had nothing else to do. I worked out for 3 hours on a given day, which is, to me, is absolutely insane because now I do hour. Anything over an hour, it better be a really good workout. Otherwise, I think I'm just stalling time. I was able to kind of realize that I have a very addictive personality. When I did move in with my partner, my addiction transitioned into my relationship. That also wasn't a healthy addiction either. And addiction is not healthy at all in any shape, way, or form. It doesn't matter what it is. If you are addicted to a behavior, there is a reason why that has become an addiction, and it's usually because we are running away from something. Maybe like a year and a half later, that relationship started to get really rocky. We were in a very toxic cycle. We eventually broke up, but we were still living together. He moved out that summer. Around March, we're like, all right, this isn't working. This is becoming very unhealthy, and I just don't think this is gonna work anymore. And he didn't move out until June. So, you know, we did have those few months of just like, it's like going through a separation. I don't know what going through a separation feels like, but it was very hard because this person was in my life since high school. So we dated high school, a few years after high school, took a break, and then we got back together. I think total we dated for about 6-7 years. We knew each other pretty well. We were pretty bonded, and it was a really hard breakup for me. And that's kind of when my life really just spiraled. I was just lost. I lost any sense of purpose. I started drinking a lot more again. It just kind of started taking off. My way of coping with the pain, it was very heartbreaking. I can remember how I felt just sitting in my apartment by myself after he had left and just feeling so anxious and feeling like my heart was ripped outside of my chest. Now it was empty, and that's what it felt like. And I know that that isn't what the reality was, but that's how it felt. Drinking took off. It was getting really unhealthy. I did, get into altercations with my friends and made some pretty bad choices, did things that I didn't want to do, and just kind of lost respect for myself and lost the will to live. I literally was living to drink. I was living for that next drink. That was hard. It was a hard time. It was a very dark time. From June to November, it was kind of balls to the wall. Binge drinking on weekdays to help me fall asleep. I really struggled with sleep in that season of life, and so I did use drinking wine, a few glasses of wine, to help me fall asleep, and it did help. I was self-medicating. In October, I got into this really dark place. I just didn't want to live anymore. I was really questioning what the point of life was. Those thoughts really scared me because I knew that that wasn't me, that wasn't what my soul desired, but my brain has just gone into this place where it was just really dark. I had no control over my thoughts anymore, and my thoughts were controlling me, basically. I did seek professional help. I did start on medication. My primary doctor really encouraged me to seek therapy too. I was hesitant to do that for a while. I was like, no, it's fine. Like, now I'm on medications, it'll be fine. And then I got into a new relationship. My previous relationship before that was very traumatizing, but this relationship truly traumatized me to the point where I turned around my entire life, because this relationship was very toxic, very manipulative, and it got to the point where after I got out of this relationship, I started looking at myself and I was like, how did I get here? How did I allow myself to get into this relationship where I was easily manipulated and I was easily convinced that this person meant well? I wish him well, and I think that he is going through his own journey. The way that I was treated in that relationship and the way that it affected me mentally, it was awful. It was bad. It was worse than the previous relationship. This relationship, I truly didn't know if this man even loved me, like I truly don't know. Like, till this day, I truly don't know, because I don't even think that he can be honest with himself if he really loved me or not. In the middle of that relationship, from December to June, I started seeking therapy, like back in March, because I was like, oh my god, this relationship is freaking, it's toxic, and it's like, we just started dating. Is it me? Like, am I the problem? And yes, I was part of the problem, like it always takes two to tango. Everyone always has their share of what they contribute into a relationship. So if the relationship is going south, very miserable, and it's terrible, and it's awful, and it's high, and then it's low, like, we play, it's a dance, we are a part of all of that situation. I started getting professional help, started going to therapy every week. And basically my therapist, I want to say, like, she didn't intentionally convince me to leave this man, but she started making me see things that, like, okay, this actually is not normal, and the way I'm being treated is actually not okay. I went into therapy thinking that I was going to help and fix this relationship. Ultimately, therapy just helped me see my value and my worth, and it gave me the confidence to leave this relationship. This man bamboozled me, hella bamboozled me. I had a whole ass relationship outside of our relationship. We were going through a rocky time, and we're trying to take some space for ourselves, and like, that was for us to work on ourselves. Like, that's what we had agreed on. But he was dating someone else and found out eventually. The truth usually comes out. That really broke me, because I did really care about this man. I thought he was my dream person.
I had a crush on him since high school.
I'm like, wow, God really gifted me with this man who is charismatic and sweet and like does all the things, like opens my door. I was bamboozled, hella bamboozled. And that relationship was so bad that I had to start looking at my relationship with alcohol, because I started using alcohol to kind of numb what I was going through in that relationship. And I did start to have suicidal ideation. I don't want to say I was ever suicidal. I don't think I ever had that desire to plan suicide. I did have suicidal ideations, like what if I just leave? What if I just leave this earth? I don't want to do this anymore, you know? Like, this is tiring, this is exhausting. And that's kind of where my drinking took me. From there on out, I brought that up to my therapist, and we both agreed that maybe it's time that I do take a break from alcohol. And so I did for 2 months. It was great. And then by the second month, I was on a bachelorette trip. Me and this man was fighting. We were doing long distance and didn't trust me. He thought I was cheating on him when I literally was not. Like, I had no desire to even entertain anyone because I was so focused on this relationship. It just got to the point that I felt like I was being gaslit, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. Over, balls to the wall, shots, let's drink. I stopped drinking for this man. When you stop doing something for someone else, it's never gonna be sustainable, because if that person leaves or if that person changes, it's gonna affect your behavior. I started drinking again, and then me and my therapist started to look at my actual overall relationship with alcohol. That's when we realized that it might not be the healthiest behavior and might not be helping me at all. That was in July, and ever since July of 2022, I haven't had a drink, and it's been amazing. I have been on this self-exploration journey to circle back to, you know, how we got here. I've learned so much about myself. I've dove deep into spirituality, dove deep into neuroscience, psychology, and community. The importance of community is so important in this space, in sobriety, in recovery, in mental health. Not even mental health, just your overall well-being. For a long time, I've really isolated myself because I had to do everything on my own, and that was a behavior that I learned because it's what I needed to do to survive. But now that I'm in my adult years, I don't need to keep running anymore. That's where I'm at. Last year and a half has not been rainbows and butterflies. The last year and a half in my sobriety, it's been really hard. It's been really good too, and I'm just grateful that I get to sit here and be with you all and share my story, and also just provide support and community and inspire hope into people's lives. There are key people that I have looked up to in this space that just truly put words into what I was feeling and created a voice for people who were struggling. They truly inspire me just to be a better person, and that's my girl Whitney Houston. My girl Whitney Simmons. I love her. I love that she just advocates for everyone, and she's just such a good human being inside and out. Yeah, and that's kind of what inspired me to even start vocalizing my journey, my experience, what I've gone through. What I've realized is that everyone is also going through the same. There are many people who are going through the same thing, who feel very alone and feels like there is no one that they can run to. But there are people out there who genuinely wants to help and genuinely wants to be there for you. I am one of those people, so I am so happy that you're here. If you liked this video, or if you even made it this far, I adore you, I admire you, and I know that if you made it this far, it's for a reason. If something resonated with you, I hope that you continue to follow me on this journey. I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel. I've always wanted to be kind of like an influencer. I just didn't feel like, I didn't feel fully aligned with just being an influencer, or, you know, like UGC creators. I have come to realize that everything that I do, it needs to have a deeper purpose, because if it doesn't, I am going to get sick of it real quick, and I'm gonna burn out real quick. If I don't have a passion for it, I can't do it, and I can't do it. But I have always been super passionate with mental health, educating others about mental health, being there for support. If you have followed me on Instagram, I do always tell people, like, if you're struggling right now, reach out to me. It helps me as much as, you know, hopefully it helps you. So please reach out to me, please stick around, please leave a comment if you did watch this video and it did resonate with you. Let me know what resonated with you. So I am so happy you are all here. I'm so happy I found the time, or I made the time to create this video. I hope you guys are excited to see more of this. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of do it like this for the beginning, just kind of impromptu. I don't want to overthink it. I'm a perfectionist, and if I try to make everything perfect, nothing is gonna get done. So yes, please stick around, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Again, my name is Ronalyn. I am I'm so happy you're here. And yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.